Hi, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. I am Ariel Senya, and I'm here today with my guest, Sasha Rosa. And I've invited her to talk with me because in my Feminine Energy 101 course, I talk about the importance of learning how to take care of your health as a woman. And I think that hormonal health is something that's just not talked about enough. So, Sasha, could you tell us a little bit about what you do and how you help women?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Ariel. So, a little bit about myself. My name is Sasha. I am a certified holistic womb specialist. And what I do is I help women who are dealing with reproductive health issues, hormonal health issues, get to the root cause of the problem. Because I feel like when it comes to these serious health issues, when it comes to our reproductive system, our hormones, we got to get to the root of what caused them to be out of balance. And a lot of people miss that mark and they look for shortcuts. And whenever we get shortcuts, that means that they're not going to work permanently. So getting to the root cause of the problem and getting rid of the problem from the root. So that's a little bit about me.
Love that. Love that. So,
Oops.
I have a couple questions for you. Oops, I think we lost Sasha. There she is. Okay, hang on.
I'm on mute. Okay. I'm using my phone, so sorry.
No, that's all right. This is my first time using Restream, so we're trying something out today. So I have a couple questions for you, and then, if things come up in conversation, we'll talk about that. But why do you think hormonal health is so important for women?
As women, we're ruled by our hormones. We have our hormones fluctuate. We have four phases of our 28-day cycle. And whenever things are off, whenever our hormones are off, whenever our organs or glands produce too little or too much of a particular hormone, that's going to throw things off as far as how we feel, our health, our brain activity, our the symptoms we're exhibiting, our menstrual cycles, so many things, our ovulation. So when we're off, when our hormones are off, we're off. Like when our hormones are imbalanced, we're imbalanced. It has a direct impact on us as well. So, and when we're in balance, we're in balance. When your hormones are in balance, you're in balance, right? Your moods are in balance, like your menstrual cycle is in balance, and everything is just flowing the way it's supposed to. But when we get knocked off balance, you feel that intensely. So,
Mhm.
yes.
I think that's so true. So, you already know this, but I help women, tap into their feminine energy and feel more confident. And this is going to be pretty impossible to do if you are out of balance, as you said. So I just feel like there's a lack of education around this because I know my own experience as a woman almost never has a doctor talk to me about the four phases of my cycle, how my hormones are fluctuating throughout the month. And anytime you might have an imbalance, I think, in my experience, it's just been don't worry about it, it's not that serious, or try this medication, etc. But I didn't really realize, I feel like, the impact of these things until I was even in my 30s, and I didn't even start educating myself about them until I was in my 30s. So I just feel like this is so important.
Absolutely. And it's sad because we're not taught these things by the doctor or our school system. So a lot of women are lost, and you'll see it. And this also has a direct impact on feminine energy and women's confidence and their reproductive system. So it's a huge impact, and you see what's going on now. Women are just burnt out, they're stressed out, their cortisol levels are out of whack, and it has the direct impact on them, a direct impact on their lives, a direct impact on even their relationships, their jobs, their careers. So it's so important, and doctors don't look at this until things are so bad. For example, until a woman is, having issues with fertility, having issues with getting pregnant, or maybe their symptoms are extremely bad and you have PCOS, but instead of actually trying to prevent this stuff, there's always little signs our body shows us that, listen, things are starting to get out of whack. We have to really support our body, support our hormones in order to be at our optimum level of health, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. So, my next question was, in your experience working with your clients, how have you seen these hormonal imbalances affect a woman's energy and confidence?
Oh man, I mean it's severely, it severely, because we're talking about, this impacting even your mood. So a lot of women have, for example, you know, difficulty concentrating, like for example, brain fog, thinking that oh, it's just my age, or it's just perimenopause, not knowing these are their hormones, letting them know, listen, things are off balance, or even really bad menstrual cycles to the point where TMI, like that's taking their energy because they're bleeding so much. So even really bad menstrual cycles to really bad cramps, and thinking that these things are normal, but they're not. They're not. All these symptoms and PMS, and there's some women that only feel good, maybe like feel normal, I would say, like 2 weeks. I would say 2 weeks out of every 28-day cycle. So let's say half the time. So the other half of the time, a week before their cycle, they're feeling all these symptoms. They're feeling completely off. And then during their cycle, of course, these are completely off. And then maybe the week after, they feel normal for a couple of weeks, and then back at it again. So that severely is going to impact her relationships, also her sex life as well. This is a huge thing. A lot of people, you'll be surprised the amount of divorces have happened. I mean, I know that's kind of, due to even like really huge hormonal imbalances in women. You'll be surprised how this wrecks relationships, wrecks their sex life, just wrecks so many things in their career. And how can somebody feel confident, like, in going through all of these changes on the inside, and also that having a direct impact on her life? Like, how can somebody feel confident in that? Like, you're not gonna feel feminine. You're not gonna feel like your true self. You're not.
I agree with you. And I've had a lot of clients who've shared with me that they have hormonal imbalances, something like PCOS, or you know what I mean? They're maybe getting on the pill or getting off the pill or trying a different option, and it really impacts them. Really impacts their mood. It impacts their ability to show up and be fully present in their body when they're dealing with these things. So again, that's why I said in my Feminine Energy 101 course, I feel like the essence of feminine energy is nurturing, but that we are giving it to everyone else besides ourselves as women. So we need to turn and shine that light on ourselves and really get to know how to take care of our bodies. And we have a cycle that is unique and different. And I think that learning and understanding how to take care of your cycle is one of the best things that you could do as a woman, because otherwise um, the negative impact is going to be too large. You're literally going to be missing out on life because you're sick, you know, or you're not feeling confident. So what are some common issues in your experience that women suffer from that can actually be cured or reduced? So, how can we get back to showing up in our lives?
Yes, I'm so happy that you asked that. So I'm coming from a holistic lens. It's going to be very different just for everybody watching. It's going to be very different than what your doctor says. When it comes to Western medicine, I am not aligned with that at all. As somebody that's been through a lot of hormonal issues in the past, and a lot, from fibroids to just a lot of, cortisol levels, and yeah. So what can everything, every single thing, especially when it comes to our reproductive health and our hormones, can be healed naturally. Okay. Can be healed naturally. We can rebalance our hormones naturally without birth control, without the hormones, progesterone, without, hormone therapy, because those things create toxins in the body. Okay. Even though we may feel good, those things on the back end overload the liver, the kidneys, and create toxins in the body. So, and we're not even going to talk about how these things contribute to things like breast cancer. But that's a whole nother conversation. Your body's is a healing mechanism. Our body can self heal. We just have to provide the right environment for it to do so. So everything from fibroids to PCOS, and I'm not saying, just saying this, I've helped women with these issues with hormonal imbalances, perimenopause, which is honestly a series of hormonal imbalances, right? We don't have to go through perimenopause. Menopause should be like a smooth shift transition. It should not be, something chaotic for like 10 years before we actually get there, right? So there's so many, when it comes to women's health, Western medicine, the medical industry has dropped the ball significantly. I think that's by design, but that's a whole nother conversation. Okay. They have dropped the ball significantly, and they're not really giving women real answers. It's like there's no care. So, in my opinion, Western medicine is very sexist, in my opinion. So, we have no choice at this point but to heal our bodies. We have no choice. We just have no choice, or we're gonna forever be subjected to them and on medications, on hormones, on birth control, on you're never gonna like it will work. Their hormones will work for a little bit, and then you'll be back to square one. It'll work for a little bit. It's not getting to the root cause of the problem. So yeah,
So perimenopause is not really what they're saying it is. Is that what you're telling us?
absolutely not. And if you even go to other places in the world where their lifestyles are a lot healthier than ours, okay, there is no perimenopause. It's like a gradual shift into, menopause. And that's a lot later than we experienced it, like maybe like 60s, 70s, right? Where the period would stop. It's not, doesn't occur in the late 30s and 40s. Like that's by our own doing and by our own lifestyle. Yeah. So
I mean, it's so encouraging to hear these things, but at the same time, I can imagine that it could feel very confusing to people who've been told for so many years that actually, you don't have any control and it's just hereditary or whatever it is, and you're just going to have to deal with it. Um, so I know we have some other questions lined up, but I guess I was just curious, what are some of the things that women could actually avoid? Because I was looking on your page and there's like some procedures I feel like that are super invasive that women are going through that actually could be avoided.
yes. Okay. So things like hysterectomies, things like, whenever there is a reproductive health issue, whenever there's fibroids, these myomectomies,
Mm,
when this is kind of the setup, because we know that when doctors perform the surgeries, they get incentives, right? So we already know that. But this is a setup to eventually these little surgeries they have you do. Oh, let's just remove, they make it seem like it's a simple surgery, like for example, removing fibroids, but it's in a way setting you up for a hysterectomy later on because they're going to continue growing back and eventually you're going to get tired and say, listen, just take this whole uterus out of me, but you still haven't got to the root cause of the problem. So you want to be very careful with these procedures, and you want to understand and listen. If I develop, and these things all stem from hormonal imbalance, fibroids, PCOS, endometriosis, estrogen dominance, right? When our estrogen levels are go haywire in the body and our progesterone levels are too low, this is estrogen dominance. So this causes, again, this is when we start feeling like, our moods are erratic, we start getting the mood swings, anxiety, depression, brain fog, thyroid issues, like so many issues stem from this, even autoimmune disorders. So
mhm.
when that occurs and you're looking for just temporary relief, you're never going to find true healing. Okay, now healing starts in the mind first. You have to believe in your body's ability to heal and believe that this sickness is not you. Like you don't like this is not you. This is your body trying to let you know something. Listen, I need you to listen up. And a lot of women too are carrying a lot of, it's even a spiritual thing. A lot of women are carrying a lot of pain and trauma and they haven't really released it and let go of it. And that's also causing these issues, the body to seem like it's attacking itself, but it's really not. It's just in the hormones to be out of balance. So it's like there's a connection between the, of course, the body, the mind, there's a connection,
Oh, yeah.
a huge connection. And it's so important for women to understand, listen, my body can heal. My body, I can get to the root cause of the problem. And even if it is a problem I'm seeing recurring in my family, genetics, yes, they load the gun, but we have to pull the trigger by our diet, our lifestyle, our mindset. It has to be the one to pull the trigger. Like high blood pressure runs heavily on both sides of my family. My blood pressure was high when I was unhealthy, when my hormones were out of balance, when I had fibroids. Yes, it was a little high. Now, for years, it's been perfect. So understand, listen, you have control over your body. You have control over, these symptoms that your body is exhibiting, your hormonal imbalances, your femininity. You have control over that, but you have to grab the control and stop letting other people control it. If that makes sense.
I also am a big fan of externalizing, and I recommend that to my clients that actually, some of the ways that you are thinking and a lot of the issues that you have don't even have anything to do with you. They were other people's ideas. And
Yes.
I am like such a huge fan of that. And that's also how I've helped myself heal through my own, journey is again, like you said, opening up the mind to even believe that it's possible. Because if you don't do step one, then no amount of, protocol or teaching or strategy is going to work if you don't actually open up your mind to believe that it is possible to heal and be healthy. And one of my personal favorite affirmations is, I am healthy.
Yes.
I am healthy. I am healthy. And this is just a moment in time. This is just my body is literally signaling to me that I am out of balance. And I struggled with acne for a long time, which was hormonal related.
Mhm.
This is just a signal on the surface to let me know that it's time to nurture myself and
Yes.
take action. And I love that approach. So, knowing that, what is one thing that we as women can all start doing today to
Mhm.
improve our hormonal health?
Well, that's a great question. Number one, managing your stress levels. Okay. That's number one. Because as women, and I get it, like as women, life can be stressful. We have you know, I feel like I always say women, it's like we have both roles. We have to, a lot of women are literally, they have to they're responsible for providing in their families, and they're also responsible for nurturing the children and this and doing everything at home and cooking and cleaning and taking care of the husband, and then they still have to work. So it's like a lot of women are literally doing so many jobs, and as women have been, a lot of women, want to think of themselves as superwoman, right? I can do everything, but we're still women at the end of the day, right? So it's important to understand. Listen, you do need time for yourself. You do need time to nurture yourself, and you also need to learn how to manage your stress levels better. Okay, and how you can start doing this is learning how to tune into your body, because a lot of people don't are always in highly stressful situations. They don't even know when they're stressed. Okay, they don't even know when their levels start, their cortisol levels are increasing, which is, we don't want it to do that all the time, because those are hormones out of balance. So what you can do is really take deep breaths when you're feeling stressed, when you're feeling anxious. Take deep breaths, go within. Okay, and don't harbor, so don't don't stress so much over things you can't control. That's another thing too. Like, we stress so much over what we can't control. Focus on what you can control. It's okay. And also dive into creative outlets. Okay, that's really for example, dancing and yoga, or just whatever, right? Singing. As women, we're creative beings, so start doing that. Like, get a hobby, start nurturing yourself, start connecting with your inner child, right? I know that's more than one thing, but just start small. Like, start with your stress levels first, because that's another thing, and making time for yourself. If you don't do that, this journey is going to be it's going to be really, really hard for you to rebalance your hormones and even connect with your femininity, if you don't like really make time for yourself and make time to nurture yourself, if that makes sense. So
It makes complete sense. Cortisol is real.
mhm.
And I have a YouTube video where I was talking about like why we rush,
Mm.
how it's by design, especially, I mean, if you would allow me to get deep for a moment, like um, the Industrial Revolution and kind of the change in how we manage time down to the minute, which came about with the factories and the change in labor, has made us all so obsessed. And like you said, that sense of urgency and trying to over function is actually kicking up our cortisol levels and creating a very unhealthy environment in our body. And I remember when I was a school teacher, I was drinking like a pot of coffee in the morning and then working probably 12 hours a day. And that's a super stressful job, right? Especially
Absolutely, yeah.
middle school. And it's no wonder that, you know what I mean? I was having skin issues and just felt horrible, felt completely depleted because my cortisol levels were probably so escalated. So learning to slow down, which is something that I teach, and that's part of it too. It's like me embracing this lifestyle has only elevated my well-being because there's no, you know what I mean? I don't want to get myself worked up, even if I'm in traffic or at the grocery store waiting in line and the person's going who knows how slow, or like the older person doesn't know how to use the the credit card tap or whatever, you know? And like keeping, I think of it like I don't want to create what is it, the environment of disease within my body by getting stressed out.
Absolutely. That is, listen, that is huge because a lot of people don't know that their habits are literally creating that environment, creating those things to occur. And I love how you said just slowing, not rushing, slowing down, and how you teach women that. That's amazing because by design, women are taught to rush. Like they saw their mothers do it. They saw, they're taught to rush, 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 and having to do everything. And if everything doesn't get done, they're failures. Instead of actually, it's okay. It'll get done when it gets done, right? And letting go of what you can't control. Um, and also still feeling I not feeling guilty about that as well. That's another thing too. We put a lot. It's what we just put a lot on ourselves. But then, don't get me started. But then, with our counterparts, we don't expect much from them. I, hey, don't get me started.
I want to. I, you know, I had posted a video, and I want to maybe repost it on my main page. And this is the other thing too, is like I think it's so important for women to educate themselves on all of these topics. So, for example, hormones are never talked about in school. They are never talked about by your doctor, but we all know the phrase stress is the silent killer. Stress cultivates that environment in the body that you just said. As women, that is the number one tip that I want you to do right now is eliminate stress or reduce stress in order to bring your cycle back in balance to a place of health. So like we know that, but I feel like women aren't really told a lot of these things and the truth about how everything is set up because economically speaking, like the most labor in the world is done by women, but it's not paid for. It's not considered work anymore. So it's like you can go to a job and get paid, but if you're doing work at home, that's not real work. And so I feel like we've been tricked into believing that all of this effort and all of this like mental energy and everything that we're doing still isn't worth enough. And so that's why we're kind of caught up in the trap. Me
Absolutely.
personally.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what you said is so true. We're like, how many women are like also too, they're cooking, they're cleaning, and then they still have outside jobs. Like that's like three jobs and taking care of the kids. That's like three jobs. Like that is just, it's like, when do you have time for you? I think it really, and this is gonna, for women that are already like married and things like that, they're gonna have to make some adjustments, of course. But for women that are not married yet, you really have to, when you're when you have to really, when you are wanting to have children, and you're wanting to, depending, because some women don't want to get married, which is totally fine. But some women don't want children, which is totally fine, right? But for the women that do, make sure that who you're picking recognizes and understands. Listen, you're a woman, there's going to be certain times where you do need to rest, like before your cycle and during your cycle is a time of rest. It's not a time to, that understands the differences and doesn't expect you to be like a superwoman. That makes sense.
It definitely makes sense. And I was just thinking about the plant back here because literally what you're saying is that, when we try to, and this to me seems very masculine, when we try to force ourselves to perform and meet these expectations that no person can meet, that's why other people aren't doing it. That's why
Yes.
That's why, let's just go ahead and say it. That's why the men aren't doing it all. Okay. They know that nobody can do it all. That's why they have already delegated it.
Hmm.
They understand this, but we, for some reason, think that we can do it. So we try to force our will. And we're still, even though this is what I tell all of my clients, like, and in my teachings, we might be spiritual beings, but we're having a physical biological experience. So it's no different than the plant back there, right? Let's say over functioning is the same as like over watering your garden, you're going to drown the plant. It's too much of, again, that will, that energy that gets us to do things often is associated with adrenaline and cortisol. And this isn't my area of expertise, so I'm just speaking from a limited understanding, but you know what I mean. You
No,
have
you're right. Yeah.
it in your body to keep you going all day long, plus you're putting caffeine in there. Plus you might be trying to do some weird, diet of some kind. And so you are literally messing with your biology. And you know what I mean? Like you said, you have to really consider these things because the partner that you choose, the lifestyle that you choose could potentially keep you sick. And then you
Absolutely.
wonder why you don't feel confident and feminine because you don't feel good half of the year.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's so important as women that we create a beautiful life for ourselves, whatever that looks like. And that starts, of course, with how we feel about ourselves, how we feel about our bodies, our connection that we have with our bodies. Because a lot of women are so disconnected from their bodies, their intuition, that it's like they're going outside themselves, i.e. the doctor, okay, to say fix me, but they're not in the business of fixing you. They're in the business of prescribing things, diagnosing things, and prescribing things, and keeping you sick, managing your sickness, which you don't want to do. You don't want to do. You want to heal, okay? So it's really important to understand that. It's really important to understand. Listen, you want to create a beautiful life for yourself, and that starts with your body, your mind, your spirit, right? That starts like with how you feel about yourself, because people treat you how you feel about you. That's going to be reflected back to you in, because people are mirrors, okay? So if we're getting a lot of people just putting things onto you, not letting you rest, they're just delegating tasks to you, your boss, your supervisor, or your husband or boyfriend or whatever. They're just, because they're treating you like how you treat you. They're treating you how you treat you. The woman that is confident, that's feminine, that's allowing others to take care of her, whoever that is, right? People are not just delegating a whole bunch of tasks to her, they're taking stuff off her plate.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's because they see how she treats herself. So they're not gonna come to her with any BS. Yeah. So really important. You gotta treat yourself good. You gotta create a beautiful life for yourself. But first, that starts within. That
Yeah.
starts with.
Yes. And I love that because that's something that I say in my messaging a lot is designing a beautiful life. And I highly encourage anyone who's listening to address this problem with Sasha if that's what you need, because the other things are not going to be accessible until you heal. Like if you have some hormonal imbalances that are affecting the quality of your life, it is a highly feminine choice to heal,
Yes.
to address it and not try to struggle through it. So I personally believe that, strong feminine women give themselves options, and they're solution oriented. So there is no reason to stay stuck in the suffering when there is a solution, and that you can learn to heal your body. And then when it comes to expressing yourself more creatively, or maybe you want to start a business or whatever it is, because a lot of my clients are talking to me about that right now, that's going to be more accessible. But even feeling smooth and graceful and poised, if you have chaos going on inside of your body and literal growths affecting your quality of life, like, let's stop and address step one,
Yes.
you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That has to be done. That has to be done. When there's chaos on the inside, that's gonna again affect the outside. That women that are dealing with hormonal imbalances and all these reproductive health issues, they live chaotic lives. And as you are, am I saying that it has to be 100% healed before you get to the life you want? No, absolutely not. But as you're working on you, you're going to see the shift. As you're in the process of working on you, and your symptoms start improving, and that also gives you confidence to listen. Like my body can heal. Like, that's a beautiful feeling. I've been there before, so I know it's a beautiful feeling, and I've seen it in so many of my clients as they start to heal. And this also too, it brings you back to your true self. There's many of my clients who've said that they've had spiritual shifts after healing their bodies. Like, they're like, wait a minute, I'm realizing what I do for a career, actually, this may not be who I am anymore. I think I want to go this way, this route, or things like that, right? It really, it's a beautiful thing. It's so, for someone, it's scary because we all, well, a lot of people are scared of change, but the process is so much worth it. It's so worth it, right? Going down that process of healing the body. Yes.
Mm-hmm. So for anyone listening who is a little hesitant, do you mind sharing maybe some of the like successes that you've had with clients? Because again, I know that a lot of people can be in this paradigm of like, I'm just going to go to the doctor and I'm just going to do what they tell me. But I especially think that when it comes to women's hormonal health, like, that system is not working. Okay. It's not working.
It's crumbling.
So what are some of the successes that you can share with us that might put people at ease?
So many. I've had women come to me with PCOS, with fibroids, with heavy cycles, and have been able to, over time, heal those things. Now, when it comes to cycles, that can be healed a lot faster, of course, than like PCOS, because we're dealing with the endocrine system being, severely impacted. But when it comes to like the period, when it comes to PMS, when it comes to even anxiety, depression, right? A lot of women don't understand this is also a gut issue as well. So with changes and lifestyle changes and shifts, and actually nurturing your hormones and nurturing your body, and getting to the root cause of the problem, they're able to see a huge difference. With some, in less than a month, they feel different. Like, I feel more energy, I feel more well rested. I feel, a lot of people, when they get their cycle, like, wait a minute, my cycle's a lot better. I don't have all these symptoms before. I didn't have all these symptoms before my cycle like usual. So they're able to see these shifts, and this encourages them to know, listen, if this can happen within this period of time, then imagine what could happen with me doing this for 3 months, 6 months, of me being consistent and heal, paying attention, healing my body, and being consistent and disciplined with it. And this starts with listening to your body, knowing how to connect with your body, nurturing yourself and putting yourself first. Okay. That, it starts with that, and really managing your stress levels, and not trying to be Miss People Pleaser. Because I always say that people pleasers are always the sick ones, and the hormones are always out of whack, because nobody cares. Yes, nobody cares about them, and because they don't care about themselves. They care about everybody else, and we have to heal that inner Miss People Pleaser. We got to heal that, and because that comes out of from fear and lack, that the people in our lives will leave us and not love us if we don't do everything for them. Like, no, that's not. We got to heal that. We got to heal that. That's an inner thing. Okay, so very important, very, very important.
And I remember one of your posts or one of the things that you talk about is that a period should not last more than how many days?
It shouldn't last more than 4 days.
Okay, because I've been paying attention every time. You put that in my mind, and I'm like, okay.
Listen, that's like one of my it went viral on I think TikTok, and that's like one of my the way people were fighting for their lives in the comment section. But it's true, and when we're taught that, oh, if you bleed for a whole entire week, that's fine. No, it's not, because as soon as you balance your hormones, you're gonna notice less bleeding, and also your period is not supposed to be you're not supposed to bleed for 4 days, like over 4 days. But as you know, and as you heal your body, you heal your hormones, you'll notice, listen, the days that you're bleeding are a lot less, are a lot less. But
That's something to look forward to for
yes,
to anyone who's listening.
yes, definitely.
Right? Okay, perfect. So, where can we find more information about you?
Yes. So my Instagram is Sasha Rosa Health Coach, all one word, Sasha Rosa Health Coach. And my Facebook is just Sasha Rosa. My TikTok, what is my TikTok? Because I changed it recently. I think it's Holistic Womb Specialist. Uh I think that's pretty much it. And, oh, on YouTube, Sasha Rosa. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's where I am. Those are
Okay.
my main social media platforms that I use.
And what are some of the programs that you have available that people could join?
So right now on my site, I have a hormone balance bundle that's really, really good, and it also has a meal plan and other trainings that's going to help with balancing the hormones. I have also my 12 steps on how to shrink your fibroids full bundle course, okay, for women that have fibroids or ovarian cysts. That's like one of my most popular courses. And then, of course, I had my program, my signature program, where you can work with me for 3 months. And these are for women for like more serious issues, for example, fibroids, PCOS, that wanting to heal those things, infertility, even, because we've help women do that as well. Who were going through years of infertility, be able to conceive. So that is, where you actually work with me directly in my Detoxify Your Womb program. So yeah, I have all that information. So if you go to any of my social media platforms, you'll see the site, and you can just join my email list as well if you want to stay connected.
Okay, perfect. So I had left some time for Q&A, but
Sure.
oh, okay, here we go. I wasn't sure if because I'm trying Restream for the first time, if it was populating on the other places. But I opened up the chat and we don't have any questions. We just have some okays. But if anybody's listening and you have a question, you better type it quickly. But thank you so much for making time to talk with me today. I just think
Of
that this is
course.
so important.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. So important. We have to understand, listen, our bodies, our vessels, listen, I always say this, they're made to last 120 years, even though some people aren't going to live that long, which is totally fine. However, if it starts breaking down in your 30s or 40s, that's a problem. That's a problem you want to correct, because it only gets worse if you don't correct it. And that starts with the hormones. That starts with your hormones, because when your hormones are out of balance, this makes you more susceptible to sicknesses and illnesses and disease, like even certain cancers. So it gets that bad. Yeah.
Very, very important. I mean, hormones determine. I studied evolutionary biology in college, actually.
Oh,
Mhm.
cool.
So I was just thinking about even in the uterus, like in the embryo, how the hormones actually determine where the head and the tail is going to be as the embryo is forming. Like
Mhm.
it's so important, and literally nobody talks about it.
Yes,
The endocrine
absolutely.
system in general. So again, in my feminine energy course, I was encouraging everyone to get to know your systems, your cardiovascular system, hair, skin, nails. You know what I mean? That's what we focus on all the time as women, hair, skin, nails, but it's impacted by what's going on inside. So learn all of your systems, especially the hormonal, to um, be healthy and give you longevity in life. And as women, I don't, again, the radiance is not going to be accessible when we are dealing with these very core and systemic issues. So, I hope anyone listening who is experiencing any of the things that Sasha describes reaches out to her for help or bookmarks her page so that you can find healing.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, I don't see any more questions, but I do see that it streamed to where we wanted to stream, so that's good.
Yay.
Thank you again, Sasha, for coming to talk with us. And
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun.
good, I'm glad. All right, everybody take care, and we'll talk to you soon.